It's February 12, 1994, in Austin, Texas. The city is asleep, blanketed in the quiet of 3 a.m., but in a small, soundproofed room, one man is wide awake. His name is Mason, and he's the host of Midnight Melodies, a late-night radio show on a local station. His voice, smooth as velvet, is a comfort to the insomniacs, the lonely, and the graveyard shift workers. His show is simple. He plays classic tunes and takes requests from callers. But tonight, the calls he receives will be anything but ordinary. Tonight, the airwaves will carry whispers from beyond the static, voices from a place no one can call. This is the story of the radio that played Voices of the Dead. Mason leans into the microphone, a worn-out headset clinging to his ears. "All right, Austin, it's a chilly one out there," he says, his voice a familiar friend in the darkness. "The phone lines are open. Give me a call. Tell me what you want to hear. This is Midnight Melodies, your companion till dawn." The on-air sign glows red, the only vibrant color in the dimly lit studio. Outside, the world is still. Inside, the phone is about to ring, and with it, a mystery that will haunt this small station forever. The first call comes through just moments later. The connection is scratchy, filled with a strange, humming static. "Midnight Melodies." Mason answers cheerfully. A faint, elderly woman's voice crackles on the other end. "Hello. I'd like to hear Unchained Melody by the Righteous Brothers." Her voice sounds distant, almost ethereal. "Of course," Mason replies. "And who am I speaking with?" There's a pause. "Eleanor," the voice whispers. "For my dear Harold. He always loved this one." Mason jots down the name. "Coming right up for you and Harold, Eleanor." He hangs up, cues the song, and lets the iconic melody fill the airwaves. It's a standard request, but something about the call static. The woman's faraway tone feels a little off. He shrugs it off. It's 3 a.m., after all. The lines can get weird. A few minutes later, another call. This time, a man's voice, raspy and weak. He requests "Stand By Me" by Ben E. King. "My name is Arthur," he says, his words punctuated by the same strange static. "I'm listening with my wife, Sarah. We danced to this at our wedding." Mason smiles. He loves these little stories. They're the heart of his show. He plays the song, dedicating it to Arthur and Sarah. As the night deepens, the calls keep coming. A woman named Beatrice asks for an old blues number. A man named Samuel requests a classic country ballad. Each call has the same peculiar qualities: the crackling line, the distant-sounding voice, and a dedication to a loved one. Mason finds it a bit strange that all his callers tonight sound so melancholic. But he's a professional. The show must go on. He's about halfway through his shift when his curiosity gets the better of him. During a long instrumental break, he glances at the day's newspaper lying on the corner of his desk. He rarely reads anything other than the entertainment section, but tonight his eyes drift to the obituaries. He skims the page idly, his finger tracing the columns of names. And then he sees it, a name that makes his blood run cold. Eleanor Vance, died February 11th, beloved wife of the late Harold. His heart hammers against his ribs. It has to be a coincidence. It has to be. His hands trembling slightly, he scans further down the page. Arthur died February 11th, survived by his loving wife, Sarah. One by one, he finds them. Beatrice, Samuel, every single person who called in tonight. Every name he'd written on his notepad is printed in black and white in the obituaries section of that morning's paper. They all passed away yesterday. A wave of nausea washes over Mason. His studio, once a place of comfort, suddenly feels like a cold, empty tomb. The air grows thick, heavy. He feels a chill that has nothing to do with the February weather. These weren't just song requests. They were messages. Last goodbyes sent from somewhere he couldn't comprehend. He wants to run, to rip off his headset and burst out of the studio into the safety of the night. But he's live. The on-air light is still a piercing, demonic red. He tries to compose himself, his voice shaking as he introduces the next song. That was a classic, he stammers, his professional demeanor shattered. We've got time for one more call tonight, folks. He doesn't know why he says it. Maybe it's a morbid curiosity, a need to see this through to its terrifying end. Or maybe he's just frozen in his chair, a puppet whose strings are being pulled by an unseen force. The phone rings instantly, its shrill sound slicing through the silence like a scream. Mason stares at it, his hand hovering over the receiver. He knows he shouldn't answer. Every instinct is telling him to let it ring. But he can't. He has to know. He picks up the phone, his breath caught in his throat. Midnight, ... Melodies, he whispers. The line is different this time. The static is gone. The connection is crystal clear, as if the person is standing right next to him, and the voice is chillingly familiar. It's his own. "Hello, Mason." His own voice says back to him, calm and serene. "I have one final request for tonight." Mason is paralyzed, unable to speak, his mind struggling to process what is happening. The voice continues. "I'd like to hear The End by the Doors. There's a short, final pause. Please dedicate it to me. My funeral is tomorrow." The line goes dead. An unnerving silence fills the studio. Mason sits there, phone pressed to his ear, listening to the dial tone. He slowly lowers the receiver, his eyes wide with terror, fixed on the on-air sign. The red light seems to pulse with a life of its own. He looks at his notepad, at the list of names from the obituary column, and at the bottom, in his own handwriting, is the last name he wrote down, Mason. He never played the final song. He ripped off his headset, abandoned the live broadcast, and fled the station, leaving an ocean of dead air in his wake. He never returned to that studio, never hosted another radio show. Some say he left Austin the next day, disappearing without a trace. The station eventually hired a new late-night DJ, but the 3 a.m. slot was never the same. Sometimes, late-night listeners tuning in would report hearing faint whispers and static-laden voices mixed in with the music. The legend of that night lives on, a chilling reminder that some signals travel further than we can imagine. It's a story that makes you wonder what echoes are carried on the frequencies we can't quite hear. Because, as they say in Austin, the airwaves don't end at the grave. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the unexplained. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more tales from the shadows. Stay curious, and until next time, be careful what you listen to in the dead of night.